Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. Look, it worked. I'm online. There's a 30-second delay, but who cares? It's so good to see you all here this evening. I can see there are already people in the chat, chatting away with each other. We'll get to them in a minute. Look, my green screen's working neatly. Oh, my focus is a bit off. Hang on a minute. I need to get this focus right. Here we go. There we are. There we go. So it's a Canon. Should be working nice and easy. How the devil are you? Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Very special evening. For a year ago today, at this time, I stepped upon the stage one at the Republica, to perform probably the most challenging piece I'd written to date, Flex. Put on my makeup, popped in my contact lenses, put a black X on my face, and away we go. So, what will we be doing this evening? Well, I don't know about you, but I've got myself a nice glass of red wine, and I'm going to settle back and re-watch what I did last year and comment on what I was doing and chat with you in the chat. So and give you some insight, some background information into what it was I was trying to do, what it felt like to be on stage in front of all of those people pretending to be Tyler X. So before we continue, a very big welcome to you all and cheers. So here's something that we got to do. There are people coming into the chat and I'm very happy and excited to see you all there. So let's do something quite special. Let's go over to the chat. So who have we got in the chat right now? I can see that we've got Christian Splees in the chat. A very good evening to you, sir. I believe you are. Where are you? Where are you? You're somewhere in the Ruhrgebiet. A very good evening to you, sir. I can see from the chat that you've already watched the first two parts of the Passing trilogy. Well done. So you're all geared up and ready to go. Good man. Who else have we got in there? We got my wife. Good evening, darling. A very good, very funny story about spinach that I might tell you all later. We've got Matthias up in Hamburg. Good evening to you. We've got Mr. Kai Fisher. Good evening to you, young man. Lovely to have you in the chat. We've got Spencer. Hello, Spencer. Lovely man from Pretzi. Terrible product. No, it's a wonderful product. Love it. Spencer, I love your product. It just gives me motion sickness, which is a tiny bit awkward. What else have we got? Who else have we got in there? We've got Gallet. Hello there, Gallet. He's tuning in all the way from Toronto. So that's in chat. So this is how it's going to work for the rest of the evening. If you have any questions about the passing trilogy, about what it was like to stand on stage, about what it was I was trying to do, if you notice anything while we're watching the video, pop them in the chat. Yes, Duisburg, Christian. Excellent place to be. A wonderful place to be. So pop them all in the chat, and I'll return to you every now and again. Depending on where you are watching this, you might be watching it in Facebook, which I've got over there. So if you're watching this in Facebook, then say hello, although I don't think that's quite working the way I thought it was. If you've come in from Twitter, magnificent. A very good evening to you. If you are on Twitter and you want to say something nice or something, anything about this, please use the hashtag. Look, I've got a hashtag. All those years wasted on social media did produce something, a hashtag. So the hashtag is FlexRewatch. It is a proper microphone. It's the proper microphone, Kai. It's just gorgeous. Reuven's popped in. Excellent. Who's this? Is it hello? Hello from Munich. Excellent. Sebastian Kyle is here. Is loving the contrast of the thing. Excellent. Wonderful. So the chat is filling up nicely. So we are going now to go over here. This is what we will be watching. We will be watching the 2019 Flex performance that started round about now. So we started a little late on the evening because people were dilly-dallying around. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody was in the room. So I'm behind the stage, chatting with the stage manager, going through the technical script, which I will show you later. I will show you the scripts and how we put it all together. I was chatting with Michael Pretorius, who was the stage host for that day and a very good friend, and who helped me with some of the footage that you may have seen in the introduction. And which you will now see in the introduction. And then I got the thumbs up. The lights went down. Michael went on stage and introduced me. And then it started. So let's see if this works. Before we get going, I'm hoping this is going to be relatively smooth. I'm not right. Might be a little bit jittery. So please bear with me. Hopefully the audio is okay. So let's see if we can get this to work. This is Flex from 2019. Here we go. Here we go. That's me. Cheers, everybody. A big cheers to the chat. Yes.
You are the last sensorium. Yes. Should you or any other member of this sensorium at any time feel without influence, please place yourselves outside of this building for identification purposes.
You are the last batch. You are the last cache. This is your last test. This is your last chance to flex.
This is the age of flex and dollars. Do not be alarmed.
Fantastic music here from Momo Tempo, Timo Peach in Bournemouth.
This is the age of flex and dollars. Do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Please welcome to the stage your Director of Human Resource, Thailand, X. He will now speak.
Okay, just before we get going, I just want to point out something that up until that moment there, I had worked on Flex for 6 solid months. 6 solid months. And I have this thing where I'm always very, very nervous just before I go on. But normally when I step on the stage, all the nerves go and I'm kind of focused and ready to go. I was, what on earth? Really? Does it have to do that now? Hang on a minute. Where's my mouse? Okay, here we go. Später. So up until so I got on stage, and as soon as I held up that book, I realized just how much nervous energy and tension had been building up over the last 6 months. And I realized that I was just about to just let it all go. And it was an incredible feeling walking onto that stage with the lights and stuff. It was just amazing. So let's carry on. I'll not interrupt it now for about 5 minutes. So we'll watch for 5 minutes and then I'll jump in. Oh, for heaven's sake, come on.
You are the last batch. You are the last catch. This is the last test. Welcome to the final batch day. A premiere, a specialty, a novum, a never-seen-before special event, especially for you, and for you, and for you. Okie dokie.
Hang on a minute. No, I will actually interrupt there. I put little... I always put a little joke into my pieces, and it's something that only I understand, and I always put them in there just to kind of make me giggle while I'm doing it. And the joke at the beginning there with the okie dokie is it's Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter always says okie dokie when just before something nasty is about to happen, and something nasty is about to happen to the audience. So that was just a little insider there.
Now, we've got quite a bit to be getting through this evening, as you can see. First of all, I will be taking you through a recap, obviously. Giving you the lowdown on everything you will need to know about hustlepreneurship. Then, in the middle section, I will be showing you the steps that every single influencer worth their salt will need to take to reach perfection.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to stop here. So I'm sorry. I promise I'll. The thing is, this is a speaker tip. Okay, so this is a speaker tip for you all. When I go and do these performances, I always I only ever see the room just before I'm about to do it. It's slightly different with the Republica because it goes on for such a long time, and I was on it in the evening. What I always do is look where the video cameras are because I want to use the video cameras. And in this piece in particular, the entire performance was made basically not only for the audience in the room, but specifically for this video. And I wanted that moment to be caught on that camera, but I didn't know, it was just kind of like a gamble, that they would use that shot, because you never know how they were going to do it. And it paid off. And that breaking the fourth wall was something that I really, really, really wanted to do. And I'm super happy that it worked.
And in the final and third part of our final badge day, I will present to you the final chemical solution. So as you can see, we do indeed have quite a bit to be getting on with. So, friends, why are you here? Ideas? Thoughts? No? Thought not. Friends, we build personal brands. That is what we do. We build bigger versions of ourselves, larger versions of ourselves, versions
People leaving.
with soundtracks. We influence, therefore we are. Except you don't. You can't. You don't do it. You are the ones that got left behind. You are incapable of influence, which is deeply disappointing. This is what you did not understand. You are...
Okay, so just to stop it there, what I learnt with the passing, the first piece in the trilogy, was you have to kind of set it up for the audience so that you have to pull them very, very slowly into your world. So basically, I'm setting them up for a kind of the middle section. And this is why I'm asking them, why are you not there? The audience is sitting there looking at me completely baffled, absolutely baffled. It was, there are people in the audience, Reuven, I can just see what you've written there. There are people in the audience who have seen my work. And I could see a couple of you who are actually in the stream sitting in the audience. Kai Fisher, for example, was sat at the back chuckling for the entire time, looking around at the people who were completely baffled by what was going on. What happens is that throughout the course of the performance, they go through 3 phases of what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Oh, what the hell is this? And that's really fun for me to watch. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up it's a bit like magic, really. I'm just setting up the trick.
Here because you are all stuck in the old ways, the corporate ways, the employed ways, the unflexible ways. You are here because you didn't hear the shot. You are here because you do not understand the basic principles of corporate citizenship. You do not understand the very basics and the need for a multi-massive coalition influencer system and what it would give and bring to you. You just don't get it. You don't get it at all. You do not understand the basic requirements of what we need to do to make the world great again. That is why you are all here.
Okay, so there's some questions coming in on the chat that I feel that probably useful to answer now. So, question: Did you do the videography for the intro? Yes, I did. I had some help from Michel Pretorius, but basically all of the footage that you'll see in this is done by me. All of the slides, all of the graphics, the editing, I do it all myself, and I very much enjoy doing it. What if somebody answered the question? That would have been great. I would have loved that. There's some interactive bits and pieces in the piece that we'll get to later. So thank you for that question. And I do believe that Matthias asked, are you comfortable with watching yourself doing this? I watch myself religiously. It's the only way you can get better, Matthias. So it is it's difficult watching the mistakes, and I'll point them out when they happen. But I do rigorously watch what I do.
You have been called the unrequited. You are the unloved and the unlovable. You have come here seeking answers, seeking guidance from above. I am above. I am Tyler X. I am your director of human resource. And it is my job to lead you, guide you to your X, and release you of the burden, that one burden that's holding you back from excellence within our system, the burden of resistance. Yes, you are the last batch. You are the last catch, and this is your last chance to flex. Don't resist it. Join us. Join in. This is your last chance to hustle. Hustle or die, there is no try. You have been collected from all of the sensorium centers around Europe and sent back to me so that I can save you. But I know what you're thinking. I can feel it. I can see it. I can feel your fear, feel your anger and your resistance. I can feel it in your soul. I know what you want to hear. You want to hear that, oh, let me in. But I need you to need it more than life, more than love, more than death, and more than sex. Better than the best, F-E-L-X. More than life, more than sex, more than death. More than love, F-L-E-X, flex. More than life, more than love, more than death, more than sex, F-L-E-X, flex. F-L-E-X, more than life, more than death, more than sex, F-L-E-X, flex. More than life, more than love, more than death, F-E-L-X, flex. Ha! More than life, more than death, F-L-E-X, flex. More than life, more than love, more than death, F-L-E-X. You need this more than you know. Flex.
Wow. Okay. So here's some insight into what was going on there. That whole piece is what you saw behind the screen is one movie, and as soon as I press the button with all of the music and all of the slides going for it, it's all automatically timed, and when I hit that button, there's nothing I can do to stop it. And what I noticed, and it completely threw me, and if you watch very, very carefully, you kind of notice me kind of like I'm slightly kind of, there's something wrong. So I've noticed that something's wrong. There was no fold-back monitors on the stage. I couldn't hear the music. I could hear kind of like a thud of the bass and stuff, but I'd practiced with my headphones on, and I was going to do that slightly differently. So I winged it, and there's certain things I do slightly differently, but under the circumstances, I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. And to ask answer some of the questions that are popping up here and kind of like pointing out the entire bafflement of the audience. It was a mix. It was a mix of people who knew the knew episode 1, episode 2, know me, understand a little bit about the character Tyler. That this was the moment where it was the point of no return. As soon as I did that, that was it. I couldn't go back. I couldn't kind of like go back to kind of like a normal kind of Marcus thing. Bad enough that I'm covered in white paint with a black cross on my face. I'd just done that. And I'd built the performance in such a way that Rachel came in and gave me 1.5 minutes to have a breather, to think about how I'm going to solve the problem of not hearing the music.
Good evening, my name is Rachel. The man standing on the stage is a man called Tyler. I created him. Well, actually he created me. It's complicated. We have a complicated relationship, because I am in him. I am him. You all used to work for a company called Coalition Innovations, but the company became bigger than countries. So we just call it the Coalition now. We're taking over the world, one influencer at a time. It's fun. Tyler is the head of resources, the head of influence, the chief of struggle, the flex master. He created this world. The world is now split into 2 groups of people. People with influence, like Tyler. People with no influence, like you. Tyler takes me daily, in the mouth, as uphill. I affect him, burst his skin, make him pale, blacken his eyes. He paints himself with the soot and ash of every Bible, Quran, Torahs and every other spiritual scripture imaginable that he had collected and burnt at what had now become known as the Release. There is no space for such things in the Coalition. He thinks that he is a god.
So, the recap.
So let's just pause there. Let's go to chat, answer some questions before we carry on. So we have a technical question. Obviously, the advertising people are asking technical questions. Do you use Premiere and After Effects? Yes, I do. Those are pretty much, I use those two, and started playing with streaming software to edit videos now, but the stuff that you saw on screen is a mix of Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, Photoshop, and PowerPoint for the design of the slides. What characters inspired you to create Tyler X? Well, Tyler X is based on Tyler Xavier. Tyler Xavier is a man as a character. He's the director of human resources, an innovations agency that became so big that it could take over the entire world, which it then did. It's based on a mix of people. In fact, I can show you the mood board that I sent to Raimund Verschpool, the photographer who did the photographs for the performance. Which is here in the behind the scenes. So this is the mood board that I sent Raimund. So these were the kind of characters that or kind of the design of the character, the kind of vibe. Let me think, which finger do I need to use? So this guy over here is a wrestler. And the guy in the corner with the Adidas t-shirt, the original photographs had me actually wearing that tracksuit, but I kicked it. Tyler wanted to go cool, but because he's a human resources director, he couldn't go that cool, so he stuck with a suit. So that's the mood board that I used, not only for myself, but to help Raimund and to help the makeup artist, Alexandra, who did the original makeup, which I then do every single time. It's quite complicated to do, but that's that. Yes, Michael, I used all of those slides were done in PowerPoint, all of the design. And Sebastian, Reuven with in-ear exploring that. It's always, and it's also an answer to Sebastian's question about, is there a sound technician? There are sound technicians at the Republica And the tech at the Republica is without doubt the best tech that I've ever experienced at any festival or conference in the world. But there's a lot going on. I pretty much push them to the edge of what's technically possible in a conference where there are 1,000 speakers. I send them a tech script so they know what's going on. In-ear stuff is something I'm exploring, bringing my own and just working it out. But the not being able to hear the music was a real issue. But I kind of worked it out as I went along. So let's carry on watching. Let's dig in a little deeper.
Now, you've been told this before 1,000 times. But you've obviously not understood it. Maybe you don't want to understand it. Conscious ignorance. Anyway, in 2020, we saw a world in rubble, a world in flames, in chaos, disaster, war, hunger, famine. Now, to
Viruses.
be honest, we were slightly responsible for some of these things. But we saw the opportunity, took it. We grabbed it, we crushed it. We saw the opportunity to make the world great again. Now, I have read every single one of your reports, especially yours. And all of you, especially you, seemed not to understand the basic concepts of struggle and of grind and of work and how to focus on an idea of growth through influence. And this was the basic idea behind Flex. It was an onboarding program, a human resource onboarding program based on fame, based on leanness. You need to be lean, clean influencing machines based on engagement with other people's content and ideas. And obviously, X, your brand, your secret sauce, that spot that makes you special. Flex. Now, the program was based on user insights, protagonist data, consumer data, all analyzed carefully by the Coalition Analytica, so that we could use it and make sense of it and make the coalition stronger and better, more powerful. Now, we created and designed 13 special protagonist sets that you could enjoy and flourish in. You could use them to kickstart your branding efforts.
So this little piece here is, and I hope you can hear me now because I forgot, I just turned the microphone off. This is a piece for all of the marketing and the advertising strategists in the audience. And the slide you're about to see is my wife's favorite slide.
You could focus on your own personal brand within these protagonist sets, but this is an opportunity that none of you here, none of the unrequited, took upon themselves. And we created a 5-step leanness plan for you, so that your minds and your content would be lean and clean. We need sober people. We need vegan people. We need people with their eye on the prize and their minds on the brands. And you didn't understand that either. Especially you. I've seen your report too.
Okay, to answer, somebody here has had a very interesting question. William, how do you deal with distraction of these performances, people, mobile phones? It doesn't really annoy me at all. These things were made for these kind of conferences. I've performed at the Art Directors Club of Europe, and a group of 10 people got up halfway through because they couldn't be bothered with it. It hurts at the beginning. It hurts when when you do it for the first time and you're kind of like a newbie, a bit green behind the ears. It really hurts your feelings, but it's a conference, man. These things happen. And people taking photographs of your screen or getting up and leaving, or I've actually had people take calls. It's part of it. It's just part of it.
I'll be taking questions later.
Now then, sorry. Oh God. So that's another one of my in-jokes. In every single, and this is an Easter egg for the hardcore passing fans. In every single passing presentation, there is somewhere on one of the slides the following sentence, probably as a bullet point. If you read this, raise your right hand. To which I always wanted to say, I'll be taking questions later. And that was the very first time somebody read it and did it. When
People who follow the word of Flex and enjoy the interconnected, cozy joy of the Coalition Influencer Societal Network. That was what we were looking for. And you failed. So, why did you all then fail so hard? What was the thing that was missing? Why couldn't you be as cool as the guys with the drum kit?
Now, that's a joke that only people in the room can understand. The performance was in the evening, and there was a band. There were bands next door doing sound checks, and right next to stage one, in stage 3, I think it was, there was a drummer doing the sound check, and it was very, very loud. And it's a bit of a shame that the performance, the video mics didn't pick it up, but the drums were so loud right there.
Why? Well, we did some more research. We did a SWOT research for you all. We looked at your data. This isn't funny. We looked at your data. We looked at all of it. We looked at your engagement and your ratings and your personal insights that we were receiving from your Flex instructors, from the sensorium assessment centers, and we looked at your sex factor. Not very good. We looked at your worth. That was rubbish. We looked at what opportunities you would give to the coalition societal system. Nothing. And your trend value, meh.
Now, to be honest, I think I could have done that better. The thing with the drums kind of wobbled me a little bit, and I wasn't concentrated. I could have done that a little bit better. I'm a bit disappointed with how I did that, but, you know, it is what it is.
You failed. You failed because you didn't want to win. You didn't want to win. You didn't want in. You didn't want to join. You didn't seem to care. But we need you to care.
Here we go.
We need you all to care. We need your buy-in. We need you to engage fully.
It's really interesting. Sorry, it's odd watching this because I can actually see myself go through the motions of being disappointed with how I did that bit, and then kind of pull myself out to get the next bit right. So I'm really, really happy with how that bit went. So it also got quite a little bit it's got a lot to do with the fact that I know what's coming next, but I kind of like thought, that was shit. We have to get better now. We have to get more on point, get a little bit more anger going.
In our ideas. And when people ask me, Tyler, they say, Tyler, what should I do to join? What do I do to become a perfect hustlepreneur? I say, you have to be you.
You.
And they listen and they join, but you don't. You don't join. You are what it takes. You just need to embrace it. You are what it takes to become a thought leader, a key opinion leader, a hustlepreneur, and a struggle naught. You need to take it to the top. And when you get it to the top, you never stop. You never, ever stop. You see, the thing is, you just need to let go of your old self. Flexcellence is a state of mind. You need to let go of yourself and focus on what you could be, the bigger, better, branded version of you. You need to focus on what we need from you. And if you can't let go, if you have nothing of any value, if you have nothing powerful to say, then you must remain here on the island and say nothing at all.
At all.
We can only take the powerful with us, the strong.
This is an interesting point because I'm about to segue into part 2 now. And if you, what you need to also look at the audience. There was a guy who's kind of like got himself comfortable. He was kind of like leaning back on the chair. They were settling into the idea. So I brought them into the kind of like the story universe, and they kind of get it. They kind of understand what I'm trying to do. They're not quite sure how far I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it really far. But they're kind of settling down. So I'm kind of also, as the performer, settling into the fact that okay, so my strategy is paying off. They're kind of calming themselves down now.
If you fail, then you will spend the rest of your days here in the wasteland. Today, right now, right this minute, here and now, this
Here we go.
is your last chance. Your last chance. We want you to join. We want you to become a hustlepreneur. We want you to be the shining star that's in you all. That's what we need.
Now, when I do my speaker trainings, I always tell the people that I'm working with that you have to understand where the cameras are and what they're going to do. The dolly at the front of the stage was something that I always wanted to work on. It was one of the reasons why I always wanted to be on stage 1. And I'm always telling my students that the camera people and photographers are always looking for that one shot. Now, that you can see now on the screen, that's one of the one shots that they're always after. So I'm always trying to frame myself in a way that is visually interesting for the photographers and for the camera, for the videographers.
Those who do not take this chance will remain here and remain unrequited. So the question is, are you ready to flex? Are you ready to take the next step, to let go of your old self, to let go of your old self? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Let's go.
At the sound of the 3 bells,
Then it's
please
time.
stand and repeat the penance of the unrequited after me.
Please stand and repeat the penance. Please stand. I really must insist that you stand.
That you stand.
We are the last batch. This is our last chance. We are the last cache. This is our last test. This is our last chance to flex.
Excellent. Please be seated.
Now, the reason I do that is because this is kind of an emotional commitment of the audience to actually be part of the piece. So now they really are the unrequited.
This is not only the last batch day. This is the very last sensorium. We are closing down all of the sensorium centers across Europe. We don't need them anymore. Everybody gorgeous is already in the network. They've gone through the sensorium centers and they have passed. You are what's left over. You are the last batch. You are the last sensorium, the last ones to flex.
My name is Tyler Xavier. I am your Director of Human Resource. Today is the 24th of June 2022. The time 6:45 a.m. The sensorium process was implemented just over 18 months ago, and progress has been good. I'm delighted to tell you today that we've assimilated a good 95% of all legacy citizens into the coalition societal system. We have attracted talent from outside of the network too, and I am stoked to tell you today that we have racked up an impressive total network influence of 3.2 million hustlepreneurs. We now have sensorium assessment centers in Frankfurt, of course, the HQ, Helsinki, Paris,
So let's just turn Tyler down a little bit. So there are some things I'd like to point out here. I was in the dark watching the audience watching this, and it was the bit where people were going, oh, what's going on here? There are some Easter eggs in here. So if you know the second part of the trilogy, the sensorium process, you can see that there's actually Tyler's presentation from that piece is on the Mac behind him. Look at the state of my skin.
The madness of religion and the stupidity of politics, and embrace the Flex program and embrace the coalition societal system. They want to be part of our influence network. They want to create content and be the brand they always knew they could be within our societal system. Now, this is a proud moment for me. I created the Flex program and was responsible for the human to resource transformation process. This is my baby. And let's be honest, never has the director of human resource had so much power and so much responsibility. And I feel that responsibility. I feel the responsibility for all inhabitants coming in and going through the sensorium process and coming out the other side a shining, influential star. And I want as many people within the coalition societal system as possible. I want them to see what we're building. I want them to
I'd shorten these. I'd edit these out a little bit more. They were too long, and I only really realised that when I was standing on stage and thinking, you could have chopped that down a little bit.
A stronger system, a more advanced version of what we've been doing today. I feel that we may need to do more.
So let's just stop there very, very briefly. So the bit that we're now going into here, the 10 stations of Flex, is we're now in Act 2. So what I'd like to do now is, before I answer questions, because there might be some more questions to come out after this, I quite like to go behind the scenes and show you the structure of flex. So this here that you can see here is pretty much how I always start a performance. So I'm thinking about how I want to structure the piece, what's going to happen in part 1 and part 2 and part 3. There's normally a prologue and an epilogue just to kind of like set the tones and bring the people down a little bit. So we've gone through the "You Are Unrequited." So I've already mapped out that bit. So I need to tell the audience that who they are. So they need to understand who they are in this kind of story world that I'm trying to build for them. Part 2 in the story structure world is normally chaos. So I'm throwing them into the idea of flex being freedom, which is basically described in this book here. Yes, this really, it really, there is the Book of Flex. That is the Book of Flex. And part 3 is then to resolve the problem, but from Tyler's point of view, and not necessarily from the audience's point of view, because I throw them into even more chaos. So that is how I structured Flex. That's how I do pretty much every single performance. So let's go quickly to chat, because there are some questions that have come in. Matthias wants to know what I would have done better in that section. I would have practiced it. Hang on a minute, get the focus right. There we go, there's the focus. So I would have practiced it more, to be honest. I would have just made it on point, brought a little bit more pace into it, be more focused. Was looking at the screen. There's a thing that I have is don't look at a big screen. Now I know that I'm playing a human director, a director of human resources guy, who's probably not very good at presenting. But you know, this is kind of like never look at a big screen. Pro tip number 1000. So I would have practiced that bit a little bit more. Sebastian wants to know, do you make a conscious decision not to use certain English words, like dumbing it down for the non-English, but not really, no. My vocabulary appears to be relatively limited. I don't dumb anything down. This is a pretty complicated piece of stuff that's going on stage, and I don't need to overcomplicate matters with an unnecessarily show-off language. Right for real people. Right for real people. How much hustle from Gary V has been incorporated? I can't hear it anymore. From Reuven. Oh, this whole thing. There are There's actual stuff from actual Gary Vaynerchuk, which has actually not been edited in any way, word for word, in Flex. So let's go back and carry on watching. So we're now going on into the Act 2, which is the Station of Flex.
Stations of Flex. This is the new version of Flex. Flex 2.0. It's created especially for you, and it's based upon my transition from human to resource. These were my stations, from struggle to the passing to perfection. You are here, and I am there.
I actually laughed out loud while I was writing this because it's just so absurd, but it's basically what happens on LinkedIn.
This is the Book of Flex. Freed of the burden of non-coalition words, released, the only book, the last book, the one true book, written for you by me. It's our book. Let us rejoice and let us flex.
Flex. So now this is kind of like the major chunk of this is pretty much
condemned to struggle.
Incredible.
We hustle for ourselves and the hustle. There is no time like now, no time to waste on the losers. We hustle or die, there is no try. We don't ask how, and we don't ask why. There is no time to ask or try, because we are the strugglers. We are struggle warriors, content warriors. We influence the world around us from our beautiful factory of influence. It's a struggle filter. And I was the first to struggle, to enter the filter, to carry the pain and weight of the burden of you all. We influence, therefore we are. There is no time like now, no time to waste on the wasteland. We hustle or die, there is no try. We don't ask how, and we don't ask why. There is no time to try. We don't waste time on losers. What do? We condemn them. We condemn them.
So here you can hear.
We condemn them.
You can hear that I actually wanted to sing that piece and to sing quite a lot of this as if I was
collective.
As if I was kind of like some kind of priest or something. The way priests sing. My wife was very, very happy that I didn't sing, which hurt my feelings a little bit. But you know, that's just the way it is. And you can hear that I can't hear the monitor because I'm kind of like missing the beat and stuff. But I pulled that off. I'm happy with that. But it could have been better. It should have been a bit more on point. And if I'd have
Individualism was founded in the 1980s. They were quite literally the glorious golden days, a time when Reagan and Thatcher were working in perfect, sweet harmony on their golden, delicious neolibertarianism. The idea of the sovereign individual was born in the 80s. This is the foundation that they lay, and we build the house of struggle upon it. In Station 1, we accept the struggle, that we are condemned to grind. We accept that we must be a sovereign individual, and we must commit to the coalition influence system. We bear the icks.
Oh, this is my favorite bit. I
was
love
once
doing this.
like you, and you. I was human. But I believe in you, and you human. I was once like you, and you human. But I believe in you, and you human. You humans. I bet you don't. You won't have to carry.
Yeah, I'm a bit annoyed with that because if I'd have been, because I really wanted to nail that. Kind of the da 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 da. I really wanted to nail that, but I couldn't hear it. But I got close. It's just practice, really. I should have practiced more.
The sign. I have an X and it's the boss. I have an X and it's the cross. I have an X, it's a grinding star. I have an X, I'm your guiding star. I have an X and it's the boss. I have an X and it's my scar. I have an X, it's the star. I have an X, you influencer. She mocked me.
Oh dear, I could have done that a little bit
Have
better.
an X, you influencer. Have an X, you influencer. Have an X, cause it's your boss. Have an X, cause it's your cross. Have an X, it's my scar. Having X is guiding star. Have an X, you influencer. 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 Have an X, you influencer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think 20 years ago, I would have nailed that I would have just nailed it. But there are certain things you kind of like happen when you get old. Like my larynx are basically fucked on booze and cigarettes and coffee and old age, really. But it's quite funny because while I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, fuck it, it doesn't matter. He's a director of human resources, so he can't properly sing. And that's kind of what I decided while I was walking back to the stage there for the next vlog post. So it doesn't matter because he's a human resources director. It doesn't matter.
My name is Tyler Xavier. I am your Director of Human Resources. Today is the 18th of July 2022, and this is the Coalition Content Vlog. The time, 6:45 a.m. Our mission must be total influence, because influence is an energy. It's energy and perceived control. We give our people the perception of power, and by giving them that perception of power, we also give them the very idea that we could take that power away from them, which is total influence control. The one key underlying fact, in fact, the very foundation, the rock upon which the coalition societal system has been built, is the idea, is the fact that we do not want them to be free. We want them to be famous.
Yeah, Tapio has just turned up. Let's go to chat. Tapio has just turned up. It's very good to have you here, Tapio. Lovely to have you. It was a joy. A lot of you who are in the watching now and in the chat. William. Yes, of course, William from Silicon Beach. It was lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. It was so good. It's always lovely to see people I know in the audience because it just kind of makes me feel, I don't know, just safe a little bit. They're kind of like, it's nice to see people who understand the work in the audience, and it just gives me a kind of like a say, you know, at least one. I have this thing. Just one person in the audience needs to understand it. That's it. I'm aiming for one person. That's all. Tapio's just kind of come in and said the sound on the day was really great for you guys. It was shit for me because I couldn't hear anything. The video is really odd. The audio in the video is in der Tat. Ist tatsächlich. Is really weird. It's very weird. It might have something to do with the stream though, but it is a tiny bit odd. So let's carry on.
Idiot and
Welcome,
a liar.
Tapio, it's lovely
once
to see
said
you here. Oh, well, say something in the chat.
That the future is private. We removed him. Privacy for us is war. Privacy has no place in a world where everybody must see you. Many of you here failed because
Can I get a cheers in the chat, please? Can we just have some cheers in the chat? Thank you very much.
Let go of your secrets. You wouldn't let us in to your dreams and to your nightmares. How can you influence if nobody can see you? Privacy is your fail. We accept that we will fail, and that we will fail 3 times. The first fail is thinking jail of private times and private thoughts. We accept that the flow of failure is part of the process. We accept that we will stumble, fall, and lose, that we will stand naked and full of shame in front of your body of work. We have failed for the first time.
Now then, here's a thing. Who in the chat has read A Wicked Pack of Cards?
A wicked pack of cards, printed on gloriously soft paper. Available now at Amazon.
When the cash flow permits it, when the cash flow permits it.
Yeah, that was the beautiful voice of Mr. Timo Peach, a.k.a. Momo Tempo, a.k.a. the man who made the magnificent music for Flex, and who is also working on them, and it is quite magnificent, for a Wicked Pack of Cards. So you may have noticed that if you have actually got a copy of my book, my long-form poem, the book, available on Amazon, A Wicked Pack of Cards, that this station of Flex is actually in A Wicked Pack of Cards. It's called scalability, people. Scalability.
By the end of the third station, we must realize that it is your shame that is holding you back, your embarrassment, your doubt in your ability to hustle and shine. The shame of showing others who you truly are, who you really could be, the bigger, better, stronger version of who you are. There is no shame in influence.
Stupid. Yeah. Oh, God. You can imagine Gary V saying that, can't you? Honestly.
My name is Tyler Xavier. I am your
so
Director of Human Resources. Today is the 8th of September 2022, and this is the Coalition Content Vlog. It's 6:45 a.m. The United Kingdom has transformed into full-on sensorium mode. We are now dealing with what's left over, and we're no longer shipping inhabitants to the mainland, we're dealing with them directly on what's left of the United Kingdom. Plymouth, Bristol, Winchester, Chichester, Portsmouth, Brighton, Dover, Reading, Cardiff, Oxford.
What I'm reading out there is actually a list of, it's the train journey that I had to take to the universities that I studied art at.
And all 32 London districts now have sensorium application process centres. We are now entering into the final phase of societal change, and the coalition societal system will soon be complete. There are, however, reports of an increasing number of UK-based inhabitants who are failing the sensorium process and not reacting to the Flex programme. They're being turned away in large numbers.
Okay, so there are two things I'd like to comment on here. Firstly, you can see why a ring light doesn't work for somebody who wears glasses. It just looks awful. And secondly, darling, seriously, I am your Muppet. Your Muppet.
Experimental drugs to help these failing United Kingdom inhabitants and help them get over the threshold and into our coalition societal system. Now, I obviously would rather push on with the Flex program, maybe enriching it with a few new themes, and maybe some new guides to help these poor, lost, unloved inhabitants pass over into the threshold of love and warmth and influence of our coalition societal system. So we'll all be watching that very, very carefully, and I shall observe, pivot, and commit.
Oh, yes.
Meeting mother. She is in me. She will guide me. She will watch me, she will track me, and she will embrace me. She is Rachel, the algorithm we swallow. She is Mother. She will watch. She will guide. She will embrace. She will love us all. After the fourth station of Flex, we will realize that we no longer access systems, but systems access us. A pill, a tiny capsule, tiny. A chemical algorithm to guide you and to guide your brand. You will hear her. You will hear her voice. Influence through proxy. This is the proof of concept station where we see how we influence and what kind of influencer we want to be. Will you be an obedience influencer? Will you be a tax influencer? Will you be a food influencer? What kind of influencer will you be? It has a sound. What's the sound? It's her voice. Influence, yeah, influence has a sound. Influence has a sound.
I really wanted to sing this bit, but I couldn't hear it. I'd been practicing this.
It's her raging, flowing through our veins. You can't hear it now because it's not in you, but it's in me. I can hear all of the influence, all of the shining individuals speaking to me through her glorious voice, telling me what's going down in the coalition societal system. It's glorious. It's her voice. It's sweet music. Sweet, sweet music. Sweet, sweet music. It's her.
This was the point that I really felt comfortable with what I was doing. So I'd come to terms with the fact that I couldn't hear anything. I could hear bits, but I couldn't hear anything. I really started that this is an interesting thing. Okay, so I practiced this properly in the green room of the Republica twice. I'd been practicing in the hotel room, but I'd kind of like did a proper run through in the green room of the Republica, which is like it's nothing, twice. So this is actually the very, very first time I'm being Tyler X properly with the makeup and everything and the stage. And I was like feeling, I was comfortable, but this was the bit where I thought, and I'd been practicing being Tyler and playing with like aspects of kind of the characters, and you've seen the mood board. I could show you the mood board again for the people who maybe have joined. So I'd had this mood board, so I was kind of like playing around with those kinds of characters. But that was the point here where I thought, oh, now I'm getting into it. And he's also getting into it. He's kind of he's segueing into the bit where, I'll point out where it really, really clicks. But this was the moment where I thought, Tyler X is an absolute psychopath.
My name is Tyler Saviour. I am your Director of Human Resources. Today is the 27th of September 2022, and this is the Coalition Content Vlog. It's 6:45 a.m.
Spots I had 4 months
The
ago.
numbers of inhabitants who continually fail the sensorium process, who can't engage with flex, remains worryingly high, too high. I promised that I would observe, that I would pivot if necessary, and I would commit. Today I commit. I have committed myself to the experimental drug program. I have agreed to begin taking and testing the experimental drugs. I will be patient zero. We begin today.
I'm really happy with that, because I was actually after the kind of that level of corporate pathos that you that we all have encountered. That manager who thinks that he's not only going an extra mile, he's actually risking his life he's risking his life. Inside joke here. He's risking his life to promise you that office chair that you need for your home office. Back to chat. Let's go to chat. Hello, chat. Some other questions have come in. Christian, so many religious themes. Yes. Let's get the focus right. There we go. So many religious themes. Yes, there are. I was a choir boy, and I spent large chunks of my childhood standing in a church singing stuff. I still very much enjoy the odd requiem, if I'm honest. So there's quite a lot of stuff. So the flex is hugely blasphemous, actually. So we have the stations of flex. And if you pay very, very close attention, as I know you will, and probably have, you will notice that actually underneath all of the influence nonsense, they're kind of based on the Stations of the Cross. So the fact that the failing of 3 times and stuff, that's all, it's hugely blasphemous, and I apologize for it. Tapio has asked, where was it? Next time, would you do a full dress rehearsal and make sure you have technical stuff really works perfectly? Yeah, that's really, really difficult to do. I wanted to do it at the Republica. It's simply not possible because of the amount of time they need to do their setup and get in. And of course, there are just thousands of speakers, most of who can't even set up their laptop properly, and then I turn up and want to do a sound check and a performance and stuff. So it's very, very difficult. I would definitely do my own. I now have spaces that I can hire here, and I would now do my own technical and dress rehearsals. Yes. So let's carry on.
Wash yourselves clean.
No.
Wash yourselves
There it is.
clean
Sorry
of the
about
old ways. Wash yourself clean of the baggage of religion. Wash yourself clean of the rubbish of politics. Wash yourself clean of democratic capitalism. Wake up, be woke. Wash yourself clean of community, of laziness, of privacy, of security, of love, of freedom, of God. Wash yourself clean of desire. Wash yourself clean of it all, of loss, of love. Wash yourself clean of freedom. Wash yourself clean of freedom. Wash yourself clean of shame. And so it came to pass that I did stumble. I doubted my skill and my talent, couldn't take the final leap, couldn't wash myself. And I finally accepted that the fail culture sucks, and I must struggle and hustle and grind everything I touch. I'd stumbled.
I think that is actually my favorite moment of the performance and the recording of the performance. Just that moment where the camera's tracking across the front of the stage. I spotted it. It's just such a great moment. And something I'd like to point out here, my eyes. So I'm wearing black contact lenses, and I was planning to not wear any, because obviously I'm blind as a bat. But I wasn't planning to. I thought I'd just wing it without my glasses and just put the black contact lenses in. So I turned up on the Monday. I performed on the Tuesday. Turned up on the Monday. Looked at the stuff and saw everything is black, and I wouldn't be able to see anything. So what I did was I put the black contact lenses in to black out my blue eyes, and then I put actual contact lenses over the top. So I've got eyes full of plastic, which is why they have that really strange kind of shine to them.
In the face of doubters and haters, I had failed a second time.
Nearly there, guys. Getting close to the end now.
My name is Tyler. I am your director. Today is the 11th of October, 2022, and this is the Coalition Content Vlog.
And I still have that spot just
6:45 a.m. I'm now taking all 3 experimental influencer drugs. My skin has changed, and I've moved down into the cellars of the influencer experimental lab. My eyes are black, and any kind of light is incredibly painful. The third drug, the real-time algorithmic chemical hallucinogenic enhancement drug, or Rachel, as they call her here, has had a significant impact on my body. My skin is pale, flaky. My eyes have gone. My blood is black. My skin is incredibly painful to the touch. The main component of Rachel is an algorithmic compound. It connects me somehow to the Coalition Societal Network and the mainframe computer. I can hear it. It speaks to me. It's a voice. It's beautiful. It's a her.
Let them weep. Let them weep, the doubters. Let them weep, the haters. Let them weep, the flamers. Let them weep, the trolls. Let them weep while we embrace flexcellence. Let them weep while our influence hockey sticks. Let them weep while we move to the right life. Let them weep while we get down and dirty and engage. Let them weep while our brands rise into the sky like stars. Let them weep while we grind content. Let them weep for themselves. Let them weep, the losers. Let them weep, the haters. Let them weep, the unloved. Let them weep, the unlovable. Let them weep, the unrequited. Let them weep, the lost. Let them weep, the unloved. Let them weep. Let them weep. let us fail. The final darkness, the final fear, the final doubt as her voice comes near, the final misery before we pass on, before the all clear comes. A bell tolls 3 times. Toll 1, I can't do this. Toll 2, I won't do this. Toll 3, I don't have the flex to do this. But we do, and we fail for the final time.
So that whole piece from the bit Let Them Weep right up until there, it was just one whole film. In fact, that it segueing into this vlog piece, it's still the same film. So I'm basically hoping and relying on myself that it's going to work, and how that Let Them Weep thing was. That was such an incredible atmosphere in the room. It became very, very quiet. It was very, very heavy. This is the thing when I talk about that I feed off the energy of a live audience. That was an incredible moment, and there was a real vibe in the room, and I really, really enjoyed it.
My name is Tyler. I am your director. Today is the 13th of October, 2022. This is the Coalition Content Vlog. The time, 6:45 a.m.
I filmed that.
I have
just
been
over
informed
there
that there have been clashes between Coalition security influencers and the British border authorities. It has started. The final phase, at last. At last. I have given clearance to implement the final phase of the Wasteland Act, termination. By the end of today, there will be no more United Kingdom. As we speak, Rachel is guiding military influencers. They are taking the country one council, one police station, and one army base at a time. By 8 o'clock this evening, Westminster will have fallen. Cybersecurity influencers have gained control of the power grid, the power stations, the refineries, telecommunications, and all financial transactions. By the end of today, the Wasteland Act will be completed. The United Kingdom will be no more. From tomorrow onwards, it will be known simply as the island.
Stripped of the junk of the old life, you will step forward into the light, eager to pass, eager to build fame, eager to be lean, eager to engage, eager to flex. Stripped of the junk of your old life, you will tell the network that you're winning, that you have passed, that you have gone on, you are reborn, a brand new star. I had a dream of a girl surrounded by balloons. She was running towards the ocean, the island behind her, heading to the sea. Each balloon a totem of her energy, her brand, her struggle, and her power. She was free of shame, free of it all. I dreamed of a system of influence where there was no boundaries, no one but us. We had become gods, famous. So let us worship you, worship me. And when I awoke, I had passed. I had become perfect. I had passed into perfection.
Look at that. Nailed that one.
Hello, audience. It is me again.
Give it up
Rachel.
in the chat. Can we have a
It's been
cheers in
fun
the chat
here,
for breaking the
inside his
fourth wall?
head,
Thank you very
inside
much.
his blood, watching him, watching you. He has enjoyed it this far. It was me, of course, who has been telling him what to say and what to do. That's how this works now. Inside the coalition societal system, total influencer control, with me, by me, for me. Your time is coming too, oh unrequited audience. A few short steps, and you will join me, maybe?
So, that was the 10 station.
So that's the end of Act 2. Now we're going into Act 3, and Act 3 is very, very, very short. So right now, I know, cheers, let's go. Right now, I know that how much time is going to come. I'm really happy. I feel that I nailed it because that whole section is the difficult bit. This is the fun bit. Wow.
Of flex,
Loved it.
transformation process from human to resource. Now we come to the final part, the final section, the chemical solution. Now I am delighted to announce today that all of the pain that I endured, all of the suffering, and all of the drugs have been packed into one glorious coalition product. It's called the Trinity. 20 instant influence capsules.
So this is kind of this is the package here. So so I made these packages here. After completing this, I then made a brand new box of Rachel. So this is the new Rachel. Come on, camera, focus. Okay, don't focus. Watching that now, kind of the way that he's talking, he's kind of like Trump. He's kind of got that whole vibe about him, about I suffered for you, and you have to follow me now and take these pills and kind of come into the coalition, otherwise you're unrequited, etc.
Tablets, 600 milligrams of pure, unadulterated.
That was when I stumbled over that, I was really cross that I corrected myself because I think megagrams is fantastic. 200 megagrams.
Flexcellence. 200 milligrams of bransolin that will make your brand sear like a shining sun in a coalition network. 200 milligrams of flusamol.
Megagrams.
Make your influence swell and throb. And 200 milligrams of Rachel. The one algorithm to rule us all, the God in your head. Now,
go to chat animation. Okay, so we have a question that's just come in. From a name that I can't pronounce. I'm very, very sorry. Please don't be angry with me. Isis Norelia, something like that. Thank you so much for being in the chat and being in the audience and asking such lovely questions. You've been an absolute delight to have you there. You all have chat. Thank you so much. The question is, I have one question. The guy from the passing, is it the son of Tyler X? I'll leave it up to the chat to answer that question for you, or you could watch to the very end.
You will soon leave this hall. You will soon leave this assembly space. In fact, now, you will leave and assemble in the courtyard around the cube and receive your inaugural packet of Trinity. You will take the capsule and feel the surge. The surge.
No, I'm not drunk, Reuven. Don't be silly. I've been in lockdown since the 11th of March. Take more than a couple of glasses of wine to push me over the edge, my friend.
Of spirit. The surge of...
What I'd like you to do, actually, watchers, when I press the button and start it again, I'm not going to say anything until pretty much the end. I want you to watch my energy level. Because I know that I've got about 3 minutes left of this performance. I've pretty much nailed it. So I've decided to go all in. I'm going to give it everything I've got. There's nothing else that I can do now. And I want you to watch what happens.
Influence. The instant flexcellence of Trinity. It will take you from your zero status to a status of unbelievable power.
And listen to the music.
You will no longer suffer from a feeling of shame. You will no longer suffer from embarrassment. You will no longer suffer from doubt. You will embrace the coalition societal influencer system, and you will experience instant flex. You will no longer deny access to yourselves to our system. You will no longer resist the urge to struggle and to hustle and to influence. No! No longer. You will say yes to the hustle. You will say yes to the struggle. You will influence for the coalition. So, here are 5 things to remember. Do hustle. Become
my voice is
the
gone.
hustlepreneur that you were always destined to be. Influence. Influence is potentially strong in every single one of you. Struggle. Grind, graft, work hard. And when you get to the top, what do you do when you get to the top?
What do you do when you get to the top, chat?
You never stop. What do you
do when you get to the top, chat? And you can hear Tapio saying it, actually.
do when you get to the top? What do you do when you get to the top? And you take the drugs. You take the Trinity. So this is it, my unrequited, soon-to-be beloved ones. Go to the cube. Take the Trinity, feel the surge, swallow it whole, do not chew. Step forward, join us. You are the brands that we have been waiting for.
So this is an interesting thing. So for me, the performance is now over. It's finished. And when that video starts, that's when I realize it's done. 6 months of hard work, collaboration with Timo Peach. And it was brilliant. I loved working with Timo. And when the video's finished, I'll show you the scripts. And it was just amazing. This was such an emotional moment. All of the weight of the worry and the stress and the sleepless nights that I put my wife through, they were just gone. And all that needed to happen was the final video that explains the whole of the Passing trilogy. And this explains everything.
I am Tyler X. Tyler X. I'm Tyler X. I'm Tyler X. And I am your father. I'm your father. Today is the 8th of May 2023. The day after the first passing didn't quite go as expected. We must return to the laboratories and examine the mixture. Pull apart the component parts of the Trinity. Re-examine them. Look carefully till we put them together. Didn't go as we expected. Not at all. Badly. It would seem that risks were taken. A minimum viable product was delivered. Mistakes were made. Perhaps the Trinity should never have been locked into one pill. Maybe they don't live together well in the same tiny capsule. The reactions of the pill were admittedly more dramatic than the effects that we anticipated. Bleeding eyes, burst eardrums, exploding hearts. Complications. Yes, complications. Minimum viable product. The unrequited were weaker than anticipated. They were, of course, the ones that nobody loved. The ones we left behind. They all died, perished. A pilot. Let's call it a pilot. 4,000 dead. A pilot.
3,999 perished. One survived. A boy, a child.
His name?
Johnston.
What was his name? Tell me his name.
Johnston.
What was his name? The boy. My son.
Your son.
I have a boy. I really am a father. We must watch him carefully now, Rachel. We are connected. We are connected to each other. You to him and me to you to him. We are one. We are the real Trinity.
I will watch over him. I will guide him. Form his influence. I will be the last voice that he will ever hear.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you will be.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so that was it. Blimey. That was a lot of fun to do. I can tell you that now. It's a very special feeling standing on that stage doing that. And it was a bit odd because when because obviously, you know, I've pre-recorded all of that stuff, and that last little kind of monologue from Tyler where he talks about because there's lots of kind of like hidden stuff. So the last voice you ever hear is from Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Actually, it's no, it's a remix from Two Tribes. Sorry, and but Rachel's voice was the last voice that Johnston ever heard. So it was kind of like, and it felt like, and I was standing on stage, and it was like this incredible moment where I realized it was over. The journey for Johnston and Rachel and all of it, it was just finished, and it was done. And in that moment, it was done, and it was really good, and it was great. And of course, the clapping at the end, and seeing friends and stuff, and people standing up. That was it was a big thing for me, and I really it was very emotional and very, very weird. And the next day, I was completely drained. It was odd, very odd. One of the key components for Flex was definitely the music. So, as I've talked about on a number of occasions, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep it together here because I'm getting a bit emotional. I've talked about this a lot, the work I work very, 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 very closely with Timo Peach, Momo Tempo on the music. He composed all of the music. It was an incredible experience working with the man. He was an absolute genius, and he immediately understood what it was I wanted to do, that Tyler X is this kind of like, he's stuck in the 80s, very much like I am, and a massive fan of that whole kind of 80s, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, dystopian kind of thing. So what I did, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, and not the moods, but I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you this is the musical list. So can you see it here? So this is the list this is basically the briefing. So what I did here was I just basically listed down all the bits of music that I would need. And obviously it's a lot more than just me writing a shopping list and saying, Timo, get on and do it. We had lots and lots of conversations, and there were I had a playlist on Spotify that you can listen to. People still listen to it today because it's fantastic. But I would kind of like list them down and say, this is what I need, and this is how long they need to be, and this is the kind of vibe I'm going for. So there would be vibes like dark, angry, urgent, minimalist. My favorite was gay disco. So the stripped, and I think I actually cut stripped out, but those were kind of like the briefings I was giving him. And this is the actual script for Flex. So what you can see here is the script with the text, and here on this column here you can see there are timestamps, and then there's the text, and so that Timo could actually understand what was going on and write the music to whatever it is I was trying to do. This that I'm going to show you now is this is the technical script that I sent the Republica tech team before I did the piece. So it outlines the slides, what's on the slide, if it's a static slide, if it's a film with sound or just audio, and then stage direction and stuff, so that they had a complete idea. The stage one team knew exactly what was going to happen and when. So that's how I prepared Flex, and that was Flex. And I hope if you were there, I hope you enjoyed it. I bloody loved doing it. And if you're on the stream and you've been watching it, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Camera, focus, there we go. there it is. Focus on the focus. So let's go back to the chat to finish before we finish off, because we're nearly there. It's we've been streaming now for 1 hour, 52 minutes and 22 seconds. So let's go and see if there are any questions. Can very much understand that you couldn't sleep well. Yes, Bernadette had. I would always, when I was working on Rachel, I'd ask Bernadette to come and have a look and a listen. And if she was scared or frightened or angry with me, then I knew I was on the right track. She absolutely hates Rachel. While I was filming those vlog bits as Tyler, I would kind of like go out and say, "Oh, do you want a cup of coffee or something?" And she would run away from me screaming. It was very, very difficult for Bernie. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome was played to my mother while I was born. Excellent. Your mother has excellent taste in music, or the person who was playing that music to her has excellent taste in music. And what a way to be welcomed to the world with the voice of Holly Johnston. What else do we have in the chat? Melvin Temper did such a good job. Yes, he did. Tapio, next day running on adrenaline. I'm not quite sure. I would say that I was actually on a low. I think you spotted me on day 3, Tapio. And the next day I was just shattered. There was no high there at all. The script is in Excel. The script wasn't I wrote the actual script in a doc and then put it into a Google spreadsheet so that we could timestamp it. Matthias, that's basically how I write all of my scripts now for all of my live streams, except for this one, and all of my client work. So that's how you timestamp a script for a video online production. That's how I do it anyway. First time they saw this, they were like, who was they? Yeah, there was a lot of people kind of going, what the fuck? But that always happens with my work, Sebastian. People just don't kind of, because it's so unusual, and that's kind of why I do it. That's the whole point. Yeah, so I think that's it, isn't it? I think there was something in there from Spencer. Spencer, are you still in the chat? If you are, say hello. Did you ask a question? Here it is. What went through your mind for the first 30 seconds when you got off stage? This is a really, really good question, Spencer, and thank you so much for it. The first 30 seconds when I got off stage, I was like thinking, well, I think that went okay. And then this happened. Actually, I can show you what happened. So I got off stage and I'm thinking, okay, this is great. That was fine. It's done. So I'm doing my bowing stuff. And then my very good friend, Michael Pretorius, did this.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Round of applause.
That's Timo. That's Timo Peach right there with the camera.
Timo, stand up.
There he is.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of the Republica.
So my voice is completely shot to buggery.
Marcus John Henry Brown.
So you can see that there are people kind of like... really kind of like still a bit flummoxed by it. Michael was a massive help during the making. He helped me make some of the teaser footage and stuff,
Marcus.
and has helped me throughout the last couple of years, making sure my work gets better.
Please.
So,
Marcus John Henry Brown.
So to answer your question, Spencer, I got dragged back on the stage in the first 30 seconds, and then people started standing up. And Michael pretty much forced that to happen. Look, there's Tapio standing there, and everybody else is and there's
Come
Reuben.
on.
So it was.
Thank you very
all a
much.
bit-
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So and all I was thinking was,
And,
I
maybe you've
really,
seen-
really, 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 really just want to have a beer now. Spencer, that's what I thought. I just want to get out of this makeup, get into some normal clothes and have a beer. So I got off the stage after the second time being on stage, and Timo Peach, the composer, ran backstage, and we had a big hug and stuff. And there was a photographer backstage who was taking photographs of everybody who was on stage one, and I was trying very hard to make it clear to him, you know, I really need to just go away. I really need you to go away. But he'd been given the job of taking a photograph of the people who were coming off of the stage, so I had to deal with that. Yeah, so thoughts going through my head. Can I have a beer? I think that went all right. I hope this makes me happy, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. That was it, really. That was what was going through my head. Yeah, so I don't think, are there any more questions in there? I saw people leaving here and there looking absolutely confused. Yes, and that's the point. I see people leaving this, Republica stages completely confused, and it's basically just somebody waffling on about net activism. So why not have them leave the stage absolutely confused after a piece of performance art? That's how I think about it. Okay, what else is there? What's next? And will the Wicked Pack of Cards happen next year? I am so excited about Tapio. Thank you for asking that question. Last question of the live stream. Thank you so much for watching, you glorious people, all 12 of you. I am so excited about a Wicked Pack of Cards. It's going to be the best thing I've ever done. And as soon as I can leave the flat to do whatever it is that I need to do to make sure that it gets done, it's going to be, I've got so much stuff planned for it, and I'm really, really looking forward to producing it. It's written, it's ready. If you've bought a Wicked Pack of Cards Volume 1, the poem, know this. I have written a Wicked Pack of Cards Volume 2. I will shuffle the two packs together. And a Wicked Pack of Cards, the performance is called A Wicked Pack of Cards, The Rite of the Procurement Moon, and it is a shuffled pack of cards. And I can't wait to do it, and I still will only do the premiere at the Republica, because the Republica, without the Republica, there would be no performance artist Marcus John Henry Brown. And I have promised I will do the premiere there, and I will do the premiere there. And on that note, I'd like to say a very, very, very big thank you to you all for watching. That's it. That's the stream. It's over. It's done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you again soon, sometime on a stage somewhere. Cheers, chat. Here's to you. Take care. Goodbye. Bernie, I'm coming.